Good evening, everybody. It's Content and Cocktails. It is not 7 o'clock, it is 7:15 on a Thursday evening. Normally, I would be here at 7 o'clock, but I've been stuck in traffic after collecting my daughter from a party, so I'm not on time. And for that, I'm truly sorry. But hey, sometimes these things happen. So, how are we all doing? It has been a busy old week, hasn't it? So, if you are new to this whole Content and Cocktails business, and you may well be, because this is the first time I've ever been able to do Content and Cocktails on LinkedIn, which is interesting, because I've been waiting for an opportunity. Hello, Jay. You are my first commenter, and you're my first LinkedIn commenter. So this is my first official Content and Cocktails that I've been able to do on LinkedIn. So welcome, you get a gold star. So hello. If you haven't been here before, and I guess if you're watching on LinkedIn, you probably will be thinking, what on earth is all this about? Well, for the last 2.5 years, getting on for 3 years actually, I've been going live on a Thursday evening talking about video making and video marketing for about an hour a week, and I mix myself a little drink and have a chat. It's all very informal, it's all very relaxed, but the intent is serious. The dressings may be fun, but I'm here to help you grow your business with video. That is my whole thing. I love helping people with video content, and I feel that video content marketing should be an enjoyable part of your marketing mix. And so this whole Content and Cocktails shtick, this whole live, this has been all about it's been all about getting the sort of the conversation going, getting you thinking about video content marketing, and hopefully giving you some food for thought for your own businesses. So this week, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to talk about this week, because I've been chewing over lots of different ideas, and I haven't yet alighted on one. But normally, what I do is I keep things very practical. We have a section where I introduce you and tell you what we're going to do this week, which I'm doing at the moment. I will then mix myself a little drink, and then we will talk about the various kind of things we're going to be sort of touching on over the sort of the course of the hour. So I'm thinking today. So the last few weeks we've been on a bit of a roll, thinking particularly about YouTube. Now, YouTube is one of these spaces that is woefully underutilized by a lot of business owners. People kind of look at it and they think, gosh, that looks complicated, or they set up a channel and they don't really hello Frankie, how you doing? Good to see you here. They set up a channel, they don't sort of make the most of it that it can be, and a lot of people assume that the YouTube is kind of, it's not a great space for business owners, but in fact it is absolutely incredible. It's such an opportunity that I've been banging on about it for years, and helping people use it as a way to generate good leads for their business. But before we get into that, I'm going to mix myself a drink. Well, it's not really a cocktail this evening. So normally I'd have a cocktail, but I had a real hankering for a Pernod earlier in sort of yesterday evening. I thought I'm going to save that, because I'm being very moderate about my sort of my food and drink intake. So I will just going to pour myself a Pernod. So I've just got a glass of an icy glass and a little bit of Pernod. I like an aniseed drink, then I'm going to top it up with a bit of water. So yeah, nothing particularly fancy. Doesn't really qualify as a cocktail particularly, but does hit the spot. So, cheers. So, what I am also going to talk to you about a little bit is that I came back from about a week ago now, a week and a bit, came back from a really wonderful retreat that I was very lucky to go to in Los Angeles. Hello, Ben. How you doing? Versus evening. I'm late, but as soon as you said hard to grow, I knew it was about YouTube. Yes, indeed. Chin chin, Mr. Jacobs. Thank you, Frankie. That's really lovely to hear. So I've started really getting my head around my email marketing, and it's been a long neglected part of my particular marketing mix, and I really I've sort of resolved to start adding some serious value to my giving some serious value to my email list. So Frankie says, I loved reading your email today, although I think it was yesterday. Yes, so I sent this out yesterday, all about the golden hour. So this was quite an advanced tip. I thought I'd share something a little bit more, a little bit more outre, a little bit more for the enthusiast and the kind of people interested in a bit more kind of an advanced video technique. So it was all about how to get the best out of the golden hour, and which is that sort of time of the day when the sun is low in the sky and you get that lovely golden light, and it's a great time for filming, as many kind of filmmakers will attest. Totally forgot where I was going. Well, Frankie, you're in luck, because I am doing. Oh, there goes there's the fire alarm. It's the kitchen. The smoke alarm is going off. I might have to go and deal with that. No, there we go. Somebody else has dealt with it. So Frankie says, you should totally do more emails. I have a whole folder on my Outlook where I save these emails for future reference. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're in luck. Because I have a daily email strategy all set out, which I'm a big fan of. Actually, it's something I like to receive, as long as the value's there. These can't be, they can't be sort of buy my stuff. If I'm going to be sending out emails to people, it's going to be because it's kind of loaded with kind of value, and it's about helping you understand what I know. So Andy, yes, so I've not gone for a cocktail. It's just a Pernod with a splash of water. I'm keeping it simple tonight, so in nothing too fancy. But that's what I was doing. So I have been. Before I get into it, I will. Ooh, where's my bag on? I am kind of I'm affiliating for Lisa Johnson in her challenge, and so at the moment she's kind of getting people into her challenge week, and I am talking about it because it is when I say it changed my life, that sounds like a massive overstatement, but it really isn't. My sort of entry into Lisa's world meant that I really kind of found that it's been a now you see, we'll get onto that in a second, Ben, because the evidence does bear out very, very profoundly that daily emails, they do two things. One, they help you sell a lot more, but two, they whittle your audience away to the people who actually want to hear from you. So it sounds brutal, but when people leave the list, I give a little cheer, which is really bad, but it means that my messaging is hitting home in a way that's probably going to grow my business. So it's a really interesting one, because I do get your point, your take on that, because daily, it's not for everybody, and you've got to deliver value. But if the value is there, people will be happy to receive it, because it's the sort of thing where if I was just, if it was just every day kind of some horrible kind of rubbish that I was sending out, yeah, completely, I'd get that 100%. But there's a lot of very good evidence to back up a daily email strategy. But you got to have a list that's kind of receptive to it, and also you've got to have the time to write your emails. Yeah, I can see. You see, I because I can see the who opens them. It's really interesting, and it's there are people who are opening them and reading. Yeah, that's very kind of you, Andy. I try, not. I'd be a liar if I said everyone was going to be solid goals, because there will be those days where I'll go, oh man, I've sent one out, but I'm not sure I was on my A game. But anyway, I was in the middle of something else. So I'm currently sharing and shouting about Lisa Johnson's challenge at the moment. It's her Race to Recurring Revenue challenge. It's really, really good. Really good, and I can strongly recommend it. It changed my business. It's a free challenge. I know there's lots of these challenges around, but this is the one that I shout about, because because I'm a huge fan of what she does. I've ended up in, I started out, I did her free challenge, and 2 and a bit years later I'm in her mastermind, and jetting off to LA to sip cocktails on rooftop balconies in LA, which was a huge amount of fun. And I'm very bad at taking myself seriously, so any photographs that were taken out there were very much tongue-in-cheek, but I had a great time. So yeah, I'm going to share a link if I can actually find the wretched thing. Where is it? Where's it gone? I have a link that you can follow, and you can go and have a look at it and see if you fancy it. And I would say, genuinely say, that this is one of those things that I would definitely take poke your nose around the door, have a look. You'll find that there's a decent amount of value to be had in that particular kind of here we are. That's the one I'm after. My link. So I'm going to put the link in the comments. There we go. Some people will see that link, others won't, and all that kind of stuff. Let me just put this there. Then we'll get on to talking about YouTube in a slightly deeper way. So that's there. And finally, where am I? Last one. But it's interesting that you've said, Andy, about blocking them, because yeah, I do the same. There are some emails that I really look forward to doing it, to hearing from. So I am. There's an email marketing. So I've joined a membership actually all about email marketing, because it's been one of those things that I've wanted to get my head around for ages, and it's been brilliant. So it's a really good membership that I joined, there have been a few people that I've followed over the years who've recommended that strategy, and not only recommended but also backed up that recommendation with good quality evidence and kind of numbers and all that kind of stuff. But you've got to do it well. So whilst I've still got my stabilizers on, I'm learning from people who do it well, and kind of enjoying the kind of the benefits of a sensible and genuinely, you've got to want to serve. And I think there's some really interesting parallels here. So I'm gonna segue now into a video marketing point, and it really overlaps very well with this idea of video marketing, of email marketing. The content you serve people has to be useful. It doesn't sound like a hugely revelatory thing to say, but if you look round at a lot of the content that people put out, a lot of it is very self-congratulatory, very kind of, aren't we brilliant? And there is a time and place for the aren't we brilliant stuff, but most of the time Your content needs to be content that is about helping people at a moment when they need help. And this is why YouTube is so good, because YouTube is a search engine. And if you employ some strategies, which I've gone into in great detail actually on some of the previous Content to Cocktails, if you employ strategies around research and kind of keywords and working out what your ideal audience wants and working out the kind of content that people are going to want at any given moment, you can start creating a pipeline of content on YouTube that is there, ready and waiting to answer people's needs at the moment they have them. So if people are going onto YouTube and asking a question, second largest search engine on the planet, people go over to YouTube, and what do we use it for? We use it for a couple of things primarily. We use it for entertainment, and we use it for answering questions. And it does those two things incredibly well. So we will go to YouTube and we will maybe put in something like, who was I talking to about this yesterday? Yeah. So we were talking about confidence on confidence as a speaker. So one of my clients, she teaches people to speak on stage, and she was we were doing some analysis around the current provision on YouTube of content around confidence in speaking. And as you'd expect, it's a pretty well kind of populated sector. There's a lot of information around how to be a better speaker on YouTube. But if you widen your thinking and broaden your thinking around this idea, you can soon squirrel out some interesting little niches and some interesting opportunities within that same sector. And we found a few. I'm not going to tell you what they are, because that would be unfair, because this is a sort of research that we do for clients, and we help find these niches which have what you're looking for on YouTube. The ideal combination is you're looking for a search term which has lots of people using it, so a high amount of people using that search term, but very low provision of content for those search terms. So you're looking to find a little niche which is being underserved but lots of people want. So there's a demand, but there isn't much satisfying of that demand going on. So you can turn up, you can create some content that satisfies that demand, and that traffic comes to you. And usually the kind of search terms you're looking for are kind of problem based. You're looking for issues that your clients, your ideal clients, commonly face. And if you can be the person that is popping up, giving good quality advice at the moment people are searching for it, because face it, you've got to face it, if somebody is going on to YouTube or Google and searching for a particular problem, for help with a particular problem, it means that they need help. There's a lot of intent there. You don't just go randomly searching for sort of, unless you're doing competitor research or something like that, you will want to, you need to treat those searches as, they're almost like a qualified lead. They've self-qualified because they've told you through their search activity that they need some help with problem X. And if your content pops up helping them with that problem that you've identified, that they've identified as well, then this beautiful thing happens. The person looking for a solution finds the person with the answer, and you come together. And then you have somebody who's in your world, who's viewing you as an expert, and is able to kind of get your knowledge. And if the video is set up correctly, and if the kind of the processes around it are correct, then you should be able to take that person from having watched the video and take them on another journey, bring them into your world somehow. So it could be that you have a really useful lead magnet, a download for somebody, and they come in and they get something. Not only have they had the value from your video, they've got a really useful download, but you've got their contact details, you've got their email, they're now in your list. You can bring them into your world and communicate with them. So this is what, and I think this is why a lot of business owners dabble with YouTube but don't necessarily get much from it. People sort of put content on there and think they view it rather as a hosting platform rather than a place where people go searching for answers. And so it's used as a place to go, look, we've got a YouTube channel. You can go and see a video about something to do with our business there. And that's fine. But if you're using it, say, if you're thinking of it more as a reference library, that's possibly a more helpful way to think of it. So the YouTube channel becomes a reference library, and you are the librarian, you're the curator of that space. You are the person putting the information together, the information you're creating, so that when people come to you, they go, yeah, I like what these people, I like what they've got. I like what this person's saying. I find it useful. So the sort of, hello Liz, how you doing? Cheers. So the slightly sensitive tooth and an ice cube. Ow. Oof, that was a little bit painful. Yeah, so it's all about intent. If you can match up your content with search intent, you're onto a winner. So really that's kind of my take on this. I'd love to hear from anybody who has a YouTube channel, who's kind of perhaps Liz says, I have a glass of gluten-free old speckled hen, so I'm good, thanks. Hello, Karen. Long time no see, although we are hopefully catching up tomorrow. Ow, and I can't see another. Oh, that's odd, Rob. So these are on Facebook. So Rob, well, welcome to this little corner of LinkedIn. You are witnessing the first ever live broadcast on LinkedIn, as I've been attempting to get live on LinkedIn forever, despite having been going live with this Content and Cocktails nonsense for about, just under 3 years. So cheers, welcome. So yeah, if anybody has any questions about how you might use YouTube for your business, fire them at me, because it is a much underutilized tool, and I'm a bit evangelical about it. So I do love it as a tool, and it's quite easy if you do your research to start getting decent results from it quite quickly, because you don't need a massive audience. This is the thing. If you are approaching it as an optimizable search tool, and you are providing content, then really what you're interested in is finding the people with the right intentions. You're not looking to, as business owners and suppliers, the reality is we don't need vast amounts of people to run a very viable business. So, unless you're sort of, particularly in the service industry, if we're looking for consultancy clients, it doesn't take many people to build a decent business. So if you can be the person that pops up with answers at a moment of need, that is for me, that is how we should be using YouTube as a ref. We are the providers of materials on a reference library, and we are gonna, we can see the search volumes using various tools, and we can then use that information around around the kind of the use habits of of our sort of ideal customer, to then create content that will help them at their moment of search, at their moment of need, when they have something that they need to find out. But creating the content can be a bit of a chore sometimes, can't it? Which is why I have a monthly, every month I have 10 slots for virtual content creation. And March is all sold out, and April is now open for booking. So if you want to have an online session, so the way it works is that I will help you with your technical setup, first of all. So it's basically something that was refined and worked out over the pandemic, as I couldn't get out and do any filming, but now it's something which is quite good to roll out. So I will help you. We will together create 8 pieces of content during an hour and a bit usually long virtual recording session. But before that, we'll have some time where we nail down what content you need, do a little bit of planning, and then get together a few days later and record it. I then go away and we edit it, add graphics, and do all that kind of stuff. And it's £349. Bargain. Absolute bloody bargain. So, if I do say so myself. I will put a link here for anybody who fancies it. I know there's kind of folks who will, who have bought. Liz, thank you. It's very kind. Liz's content worked out, very nicely. Oh, and you bought the lights. Excellent. Good. I'm really pleased. Yeah, Liz. There was a lighting issue that Liz had, and I recommended the lights that I use, which are these just 2 small LEDs on little posable posable arms, which means that I don't get too much glare off my glasses. I get a little bit, but it means that I'm not getting that annoying. You can see into my eyes. I will put this link if I can find the brilliant thing. Virtual video sessions. There we go. Get link. So, fantastic news. I have finally started the process of getting my personal branding done. So down here, that's the link to the virtual recording sessions. If you want to, so check out. I'll put it in the comments as well. It's got examples of work and payment links and all that kind of jazz. So if you fancy it, check it out. So yeah, I've started the process of getting my Tom Stanhope personal brand sorted out, which is quite exciting because I've put off doing this for such a long time. I've gone with the designer called Adam Farley, who is in fact Christina Farley's husband. Christina is a client and Adam is her husband, and he's a really good designer. So there have been a few options to sort of consider, but unfortunately one person, so my next door neighbour's a designer, but she's absolutely rammed full at the moment. So I had a few people on my list that I wanted to talk to, and so Adam kind of was also on that list as well. So I've appointed somebody, and we are starting the process. We did a really great exercise actually. He had this deck of cards with a series of statements, which and then a kind of, you had to either agree or disagree, or not sure. So we whittled it down to a series of statements around what my brand stood for, my kind of way of doing things, and it was an incredibly useful process. So I really enjoyed that, and we probably will be, 3 or 4 weeks before the first sort of results start to come through, which is very exciting. He's a real sort of he's a real artisan, so I'm looking forward to seeing his work greatly. But yeah, there will be a new website and all the good stuff that needs to be done, which I've been putting off for so long. I felt it's really weird. I felt a bit weird. I mean, I'm quite happy to get in front of the camera and talk about video, but this idea of the personal brand, this step away from me as the sort of director of a company, Videotrack, which is the tradition, which is the business name as is, and this step into this idea of kind of the personal brand. You know, Tom Stanhope is the kind of, you know, all that kind of, so that's been quite a different move. But the reality is, it's been how I've been operating for the last 2 years anyway. So I just have to be honest about it. Thank you, Liz. So, how are we doing? Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? In the same process right now, it's the best way to go for sure. People, yeah, this is it. Because there's some like little part of your brain that says people don't want to hear from you. They want a good proper company to. It's like they don't. They want to buy from people. And I sort of, when I was out in LA, I was sharing a lot of the photos, something which a couple of years ago I would not have done. I would have found it really, I mean, you know, some ways it was a bit cringy some days, but Lisa Johnson was saying, look, you know, you've got to share this stuff, because one of the values, the value of one of these kind of events is to be, you know, seen out there, you know, being successful, having had the fun and the kind of the good time. That's a really valuable thing to share. And you know, I learned a huge amount out there from the retreat, but actually the sort of the process of well, you'd think that, but it's worked all right for Lisa, hasn't it? I mean, this is it. Lisa Johnson is a personal brand, but she's, and I was talking to Nick Pigeon. I don't know if you you know, she is effectively a personal brand, but when you're doing 22 million quid a year in sales, you're kind of, you know, I would say that at some point you have to start taking the intellectual property you're generating it and find a way to turn it into something more. But I think it's the way you leverage your yeah it's she's got a serious business, and it's also really, really lovely. Really lovely. People want authority on a subject, so if you have the experience and will, I think yeah, so for the space that I'm in and the way I've been doing things, it makes sense. At some point, I mean, I'm not losing video. So what I'm not doing is I'm not going to lose Videotrack. That will exist on a sort of a parallel line. So you won't sort of, I will exist as a corporate entity, if you will, as well as I will also be the director of Videotrack. So I'll be able to have my cake and eat it. Ahoy there, Mr. Boyles. Cheers. Matt is one of the other masterminders. He's my mastermind bro. And is an absolute champ, a really fabulous person who I feel very lucky to have crossed paths with. As it turns out, we're cut from fairly similar cloth, which is excellent, apart from the fact that I am not fit and healthy like Matt is. You'd never catch Matt publicly drinking a cocktail on video. He'd be, I don't know, doing something healthy. But But no, I'm joking, of course. he's got the most amazing video. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. So what about? No, I completely agree, Karen. Completely agree. It is. But who's so? Abby is totally the front man for that organisation. But like I say, Tom Stanhope exists as a parallel track to Videotrack. So the intellectual property and the saleable assets, should I wish to do that, will be tied up with the kind of the company. So whilst I am front and centre and doing the sort of ringmaster business, the kind of the intellectual property is actually sort of belongs to a corporate entity. Having said that, there are kind of other strategies which I'm looking at in order to sort of build a business. I would like to potentially grow through acquisition at some point. Maybe next year start to look at sort of that process of kind of how I leverage what's coming in through my business, through Videotrack and Tom Stanhope, how we make the best use of that cash. But yeah, I think it's a fair point, Karen, a completely fair point. But I think there's I don't think that matters. So Rob says, I don't think that matters so much. So many businesses take their founder's name to be beyond. Yeah, if anything, I'd say it adds prominence to our industry media at least. Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. I think the reality is it's so tied up with personality, particularly if we're functioning in the online space, that I might as well lean into it for a while. Anyway, on to the more important topic of cocktails, says Karen. Indeed, I'm teaching 20 people how to... Well, that sounds like a very nice way to spend a while, doesn't it? So please do tell me, how is this happening? And yeah, I want to know more. I strongly approve of that. I do like a French martini. Although my favourite... So, obviously, at the top of the martini pyramid, we just have the straight kind of dry martini. No messing. For me, underneath that, there are two different martinis. We have the dirty martini, which obviously is kind of that bit of olive brine in there, but also I like a filthy martini. Not just because of the name, but it's like a dirty martini, but you're using caper brine instead of olive brine, and it's very nice. I like a caper. So yeah, French martinis. Yeah, I want to know more, Karen. You can't just say that to us. Why are you teaching 20 people to make martinis? Do they know that this is happening? So yeah, if you have any questions about Liz, as always, it is a pleasure to have you here. If you are, go and check out Liz's live. It's a good thing to do. Liz. Oh. A group of us from a membership I'm in, Lisa Barry's group called the MLC Village, are taking over a youth hostel in Berkshire over the weekend. Lovely. I tell you what, that sounds a bit on the dangerous side, Karen. But it sounds like a lot of fun. Power of Improvement. There it is. Go and watch it. It's good. You can marvel at Liz's new lighting setup. I'm going to come and check it out because I want to see the bright lights. Liz Allen. This business, this kind of the number business here, it drives me mad. It's like, that's not helpful. I'm trying to work out what that is. So, it's a quadrillion. It's 1 quadrillion something something something. No, that's fair enough. Andy, that's a very good point. We need to nail that down, don't we? Yeah, I'll do a little bit of research. Yeah, because I could go for that. I could really go for that. I'm looking forward to it. I've got some good filming days coming up. So I'm filming with Abby Horn on as a one-to-one client in next Friday. I'm going down to Brighton to film with Bev Cripps, who is really fabulous. So she's a lawyer, but she's a criminal prosecution lawyer, but she deals with some really sort of seriously knotty cases. But she's sort of slowly extracting herself from that kind of that world and moving into kind of training and speaking. In fact, she's a positive psychology expert. She's a speaker trainer, and as a barrister with kind of, you know, years and years of experience. She's someone who is well worth listening to. Fascinating, just generally a fascinating and absolutely lovely person to talk to. But from a professional, on a professional basis, is going to be lighting up people's worlds very soon. So Karen says, just chilling and connecting. I volunteered to teach one of them, and I'm going to teach all of them that. Anyway, 26 people in the hostel, which holds 42 people, 25 women in one place. Listen, you know, it's never as bad as it sounds. I can promise you. It was myself and Matt Boyles and I were the only chaps in LA, and it was an absolute hoot. I've not eaten so well. Oh my god! So I posted a picture of the meal I had at this place called Matu, which is like a 6 course. Was it 5 or 6? No, it's a 6 course. It was a Wagyu beef. Wagyu. I'm never entirely sure how you pronounce that. Wagyu beef tasting menu. Oh my god, it was so good. Hello Scott, how are you doing? It's nice to see you. Yeah, that was a meal and a half. But at the end, it was hilarious. I said we ended up having a very interesting discussion with the server, who was just the nicest person. Just the thing that, I know it's such a cliche, but the service culture in the States is it's fabulous. And compared to the sort of piecemeal service, some places in the UK are fabulous. Others, I think we all know, and if we're honest, admit to that they're not great. But yeah, he was sensational. We sort of blindsided him slightly by asking for a port at the end of the meal, and they astonishingly they had a bottle of port, which turned out to be a very, very good bottle of port. But we were at the stage of the meal where we ordered it. We got the bill, like, oh my god. It was a bit on the scary side, but well worth every single penny. Oh man, Scott, you've been through the mill, haven't you? Jesus. I hope you're feeling kind of a little bit more human now. Yeah, I've noticed you've not been around, but no. Yeah, it's good. Such a posh. Look, you've got a. It was a bit of an Englishman abroad moment. It's like, do you have any port? It's like, who is this Egypt? Good. I'm glad to hear it. It'd be nice to catch up, actually. But yeah, glad to hear it. Yeah, we've completely gone off track as usual. We've covered all the important stuff. and now got to the bit where I just kind of blether on a bit. I've only had one. I'm getting a bit flushed. Oh my god. I can just hear the kids stomping around in the background. Yeah, so I'm going to round. I don't think they do. I don't think they do say that. I'll tell you what, my only celebrity spot was Jeff Goldblum. I was quite pleased with that. I saw Jeff Goldblum. I was very pleased. Life will find a way, and it did. I saw Jeff at a distance. I was very pleased. He's a very tall man. That's interesting. So tonight, Scott, is the first time I've been able to do content and cocktails on LinkedIn, and very kindly, Rob is here, watching this nonsense and commenting, and yeah, so it's good. No, yeah, it's interesting. LinkedIn still hating videos. Did a quick carousel thing, and off it went. Weird, isn't it? I do wonder what the point of it is. So I'll be interested to see. I did a poll on LinkedIn the other day, and it was on fire. Loads of people saw it. Not many people, it's decent enough interaction, but then it was the first thing I put on LinkedIn for ages. Makes a change. You can't blame the jet lag. I know, that's it. Exactly. No, weirdly, like yesterday is really the first day I felt properly back to normal. I went to bed at a normal time and I woke up at a normal time, and I feel back to my old effervescent self, which is exciting. So my next, it looks like the next retreat is going to be in early October in sort of either Malta or Lanzarote, which will be quite exciting. 2 places I haven't been. So I've got a little bit of time to recover, and hopefully there's a chance that I might be filming in Disneyland at the end of. So I've just seen Scott's comment post up. In a second, we'll get to that in a second, Scott. You've completely derailed me now. So Scott has just said, you offer a cigar and some roast swan sandwiches now. Not at the same time. Swan sandwich first, cigar after. You've got to do this right. God almighty, Jesus. Some people, eh? Yeah, so I think it's probably, I'm going to wind things up now on that note, because it's been a very nice evening. It's 8:05. What I'm having for supper tonight, Scott, as it happens, I'm having a bit of pan-fried mackerel in a flatbread. I'm going Turkish street food today. Yay! You've got all the wisdom though, Scott. Check Scott's YouTube channel out, by the way. If you're new to Content and Cocktails or haven't checked Scott's stuff out, go and check his YouTube channel out, because Scott is a fabulous speaker and has got an amazing show and kind of covers a huge range of topics. So please do go and check him out, because his breadth and depth of knowledge on everything from sort of storytelling to sort of neuroscience to music venues of Glasgow of yesteryear, is kind of profound and deep and a thoroughly pleasurable thing to be part of. So yeah, check him out. Do it now. Do it. Right. No cigars. Close, but no cigars. I have 3 cigars in my desk that were given to me. I don't smoke cigars, but they were given to me and they've sat there. They are probably completely unusable. They sit in my drawer underneath. Where is it? They sit in they sort of, there we go. It's like this thing. It is completely unusable. It does sit in a sort of little box, but it's kind of, I don't know what to do with it other than sort of look at it occasionally and go, I don't really fancy that. And he says, did you see it? I went, yes, I did. I think your Labrador's got, well, it's got legs, isn't it? You know, it's going to go places. On that note, I'm gonna ring off, and I will see you all next week. But you'll hear from me via email, because I'm email marketing. Wow. I was given a cigar with Leonard's. What's the story there? Was it just like kind of they just gave it, just like have a cigar? I want to, yeah. That we'll get into that story at some point. You see, this is it. He's a man with a lot of good stories up his sleeve. Oh, they posted it to you as a thank you. Wow. What for? So we've got to get, before we go, we've got to answer this question. Wrapped in a t-shirt. I'm assuming a Leonard Skinner t-shirt. I need to know. I need to know what it was for. Oh, for the webs. Ah, nice. There we go. Yeah. I love it. Right. That is a wrap on tonight. So if I was to sum up what I was saying earlier, is that YouTube is essentially a place where you can match up people wanting something. So people come to YouTube with intention. They are after an answer. If you can be the person who crops up at the moment somebody's looking for an answer, if you can be the person giving them good advice at a moment where they need help, that's where some real magic can happen in terms of video marketing. You can bring people into your world really quite easily at that point. So don't do what a lot of people do. They look at YouTube and go, this seems quite difficult. I don't want to have to do this. Give it a look, and tune in next week, because we're going to be keeping on talking about this, and we're going to be diving deeper and deeper every week into the sort of the nooks and crannies of YouTube. I've just seen Louise. Hello, Louise. How are you? It is lovely to see you. You've popped up at just at the end, but it's lovely to see you, Louise. Hello, and goodbye. I'm sorry. Yeah, on that note, have a great week, and don't forget to use video to grow your business. Bye bye.